Chicago State game in terms of and leadership and just having everybody engaged was there tonight, and it showed in some guys' play. Juwan was terrific. Justin was very good tonight. Evan really helped. I thought our front line did a good job. And then, you know, we have a lot of different types of players in the game in the backcourt, and each and every one of them, I think, had their moments. But we're just trying to become a very unselfish team. I think our guys are starting to understand that if the way we move the ball and the way that we play, we can be hard to defend. And from a defensive perspective, the numbers would say it was good. I'm sure there's going to be a lot on film we got to get better at, but we're playing hard, and we're going to have to be ready to play the hardest we've ever played starting next week, and that'll be a great test for us on Wednesday.
Okay. First question back here.
Coach, you mentioned looking at the film. You still got to look at the film, but you weren't necessarily happy with the defense after Chicago State. How would you grade out just tonight?
I think we were better on the ball. I think we had better activity level. We worked harder on defensively to challenge them. I didn't think, again, we were very good in transition at times, especially early. And there's some things that we really got to get shored up in that, because you know we're really going to be exposed here moving forward by the talent level and the speed of the game and the players, that you're not going to get away with that amount of mistakes. And a lot of it just has everything to do with, you know, positioning, you know, sprinting, you know, being where you're supposed to be. And we're going to try and keep getting better. I mean, this team has to find a way to be a fantastic defensive team, regardless of what you say on offense. This team has to find a way to make its defense charge its offense every game. And you know, you can see when the activity level is good and there is defense to offense, we can strike quick, and that's something I think that we have to just continue to take a lot of pride in building our half-court defense.
Coach, you mentioned that Juwan needed to be more assertive in asking for the ball, and he seemed to do that tonight early on. Really,
it was a real emphasis coming out of Chicago State, and part of it is him wanting the ball, demanding the ball, us making sure that understand that we're getting the ball to him, and then he did his job tonight just in terms of the want. You know, he wanted it. When he caught it, he was very, very focused, and he had a good approach the last 2 days, and it was good to see him, you know, pretty much dominate the paint tonight.
Forgive me, I think I've asked about this before, but it's like 53 points off turnovers in the first 2 games. You've talked about preaching defense to offense, but what's making this group so good, not just at turning the ball over, but so good out in the open floor off the turnovers?
Well, it's a good question, because, you know, we weren't very good at it here early in the season. Our defense, number one, has to be a quick, tenacious half-court defense that flies around. We have to make people react to us in terms of our talent level. We're not the biggest of rim protectors, and we don't have unbelievably veteran crew of guys that have been playing a long time, but we have length, we have speed, and we have a lot of it. So if there's a consistency there and we're able to get out in transition, then it's the next step. How unselfish are you? You know, are you going to just absolutely run the floor extremely hard? Are you going to hit the first open man? Are you going to be willing to make the extra pass? And I think in the last 2 games we've really gotten better at that, and that'll be a key moving forward.
Juwan mentioned how much different the approach was, just kind of how the play was start this year versus the start last year, and he said the older guys really made a point of emphasis. Why do you think you guys were just more ready just out of the gate this year?
I mean, we have some guys, some veteran guys that played a lot of minutes last year that understand how we grew over the course of the season, finished, and understand that you have to be, you know, ready every single night. We have to be at a higher starting level this year with our older guys. They have to be able to lead the way. Last year's team, you know, wasn't ready to start the season very well. Our staff, all the way down, you know, we were a hodgepodge of something that wasn't very good, and they grew to be better. This group has a chance to be better early in the season, but we got a long way to go.
Archie, going against their 2-3 matchup, how much of a luxury is it to have a 16 guy like Fitzner and come to the free throw line, you can lob it to him, he can shoot from there, and he can high-low it from there too?
Yeah, he's a fantastic high-low player. He catches the ball, he keeps it high, he can throw over the defense. He's got great touch in the paint, as you can see. And he's gotten off to a really, really good start for us just in terms of being able to play. The changing defenses the last 2 games, we've seen a lot of zone, we've seen a lot of matchup, but, you know, obviously our biggest concern is going to be half-court offense against man-to-man coming up here pretty soon. We're going to have to find a way to execute and get good looks. We're still not shooting the ball extremely well from the line, and we're still not shooting the ball extremely well from 3, and we don't aspire to be that team that jacks threes at the end of the half. You started to see just the shot selection really wasn't very good, so we're going to have to continue to take the good threes, and you know, get some guys with some confidence behind the line and at the line. We've got to find a way to break through in those 2 things.
Seth?
Justin was effective tonight. What do you think is the biggest difference in the way he's played so far this year and where he was at this time last year?
Well, last year, I mean, he was a true freshman just trying to figure out how to play a college basketball game. I mean, he's got a wealth of experience after the year. He's had an off season to continue to change physically, and he's a much tougher player on both ends of the floor, but he's a much tougher player on offense right now. He's a little bit more confident in terms of his finishing and his ability to, to get to the basket, especially in transition. But defensively, he's a lot better than he ever has been. So, he's definitely an improved part of our team.
Jeff?
Where would you say Jerome Hunter is at health-wise, and what's the most likely return for him at this point?
Jerome is on a to-be determined basis. He's going to be out probably for a significant stretch here as we continue to try and figure out and find ways to get his diagnosis done, find out what the correct way of handling it is, and then see where the next step is. It's sort of a leg injury, but it's not a typical leg injury that is an injury caused by practicing or something. It's more of a underlying effect that's causing him some pain. And when we get all the answers, he'll be evaluated and decided on. As of right now, though, Jerome will be out for a to-be determined amount of time.
You mentioned Justin, and with about 5 minutes left in the first half, he took and missed a 3 really early in the shot clock. I saw you talk to him a little bit. He responded with 2 really nice assists, a tip in, and a nice give and go with Jawan. So how do you?
He was open, but we ran a specific action to get it inside to see if we could get fouled. He knew he took an open shot, but my point would have been to him, stick with it right now. And then he came right back and made a couple really good plays for us.
You mentioned getting some guys' confidence from shooting behind the arc. Was that kind of a reason that Rob Finney was in a little bit later? It seemed like there was a couple occasions where he seemed not determined to take a shot, but it seemed like that was something that was on his mind to, take a couple threes and get some.
Rob's a good shooter. He's going to take advantage of the quality ones when he's open. We have confidence in him. Some of the other guys, especially a guy like Al, hasn't practiced in quite a bit of time or played a ton of minutes, so you got to get his feet under it. Same with Devontae. Devontae basically has only been back for about a week and has had to get his feet under him in games. I think those guys will be better. Denise, obviously, I think is a good shooter. Zach can make an open one. And, we want all those guys to have great confidence when they're out there, and especially even a guy like Romeo, finding a way to stretch the floor for us. But we don't aspire to take a ton of threes. I don't think that's this team's niche, but I do think if we take the good ones, we'll make them.
Archie, kind of going off what you just mentioned about Devontae, you've had a chance to see him in 2 games now. How do you kind of evaluate what you've seen from him in the early part of the season?
He's fine. I mean, he's doing a good job. He's a little rusty. I think his decision making, he's got to pick up his decision making. We talked a lot about it before practice today, before the game with him. It really comes down with a defensive mindset for him first, to be in concentration mode. And then from 2 things from offense is be a facilitator first, score second. He's naturally a gifted scorer, but he's also a very gifted passer. You can just tell when he's on his game, the ball's getting delivered at a high assist rate, low turnovers, and the shots and the things that he can create offensively come second. That's how he has to play. When he's in there, he's got to keep the pace up, and he's got to continue to find ways to make guys better and let the rest kind of take care of itself.
Just a couple ones for you. Zach didn't warm up coming out of the break. What was going on there?
Yeah, he came up with some back tightness. He's been dealing with that for a good 3 to 4 weeks. I don't think he felt very good early part of the game, and from that point forward, we just decided to rest him.
And just Duran, as he plays himself back into game shape, I mean, is he where you thought he might be just within that right now, just kind of getting the minutes that he needs to get?
He's okay. I'm not sure how many he got today. First half, he only played 3. We really tried to get him some minutes in the second half. And they're playing, probably ended up playing more around 8 to 9 in the second half. But Duran needs to start pushing his conditioning level in the games. That's what he has to start to work on right now. He's not ready defensively, more so than anything, to be able to guard a really good team just because of the lack of reps in that. But he's going to have to work himself through it every day the best he can. He's got to work himself through it the best he can in the games. And hopefully as he progresses through non-conference and enters conference play, he's in much better shape.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.